Hello and welcome back to Persephone Says. I am so excited. This is part two of defining luxury in digital marketing specifically. So, in part one, if you haven't listened to that already, go back and listen. We're going to go even deeper and more granular here. So, you know, I always have hot takes in general as it pertains to the way that people move on social and their brand personas and making sure that they're authentic and blah, 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 blah. But I think, especially as a personal brand, what is a little off right now, whether you're in weddings and events specifically, let's like isolate that there is an air of influencer. You know what I'm talking about. It's not the talking to the camera that doesn't bother me, but there is a difference between an influencer and a thought leader. Okay? And when you are operating in the luxury market, you cannot be acting like an influencer. And what that means to me is that there's like an air of, I'm just going to say it, um, egocentric that just doesn't hit because at the end of the day, people are trusting you with a lot of dollars to allocate towards their wedding in whatever capacity. I think there's a level of narcissism is really what I was thinking, that I understand as a personal brand, we have to be talking about our businesses. There's a balance there. But I don't want to see your get ready with me's on your page, period, on your stories, period. Like you can keep that for TikTok or being gifted random things. Like there's just a balance. And I would say as a whole that when you're operating in this space, it's really important to, if you are doing a collaboration with a brand, make sure that it's aligned with your core and what you're all about, right? Like at the end of the day, you don't want to dilute your own brand for someone else's. So there's a balance there. Okay. I would say that in the luxury space overall, one thing that and I understand we're all busy and I'm guilty of it too, but something that is super luxury, like, is coming from a place of over communication. Okay. So that means how you interface with everybody. If you screw something up, if you're delayed, luxury is over communicating truth. Luxury is admitting and falling on the sword, even when things are imperfect. Okay. And luxury is also adhering to timelines, due dates, all these things. Like the reality of there's a fly around me. Sorry, guys. The reality of the wedding industry, even hospitality, hotels and venues, all of these things is that, we are slammed, understaffed. Like the market is kind of weird right now. So how we show up for other people is really, really important. Okay. I need to talk about boundaries. I hate this fucking word. I will tell you when someone says like, I need to like implement a boundary with insert thing here, that is the least luxury thing you can possibly say. You might have that, like you might do that inherently, but I will say it is the biggest turn on. It is the biggest ick when I hear that word. And I know there's a lot of like therapy talk. I'm guilty. But it basically says like, I am prioritizing myself over you and yours. And that can be true. And by the way, that is completely healthy. It's just saying it is gross. Saying it is versus showing it versus showing how you want to be treated versus showing and being like the essence of how you want to be treated among your clients, among vendors, among media partners, like that that is a boundary. And I think that's really important. So I'll give you an example. Ugh, sorry, I just hate that word so much. So I had an employee a while back, no longer, tell another employee in my company that had asked for something at like 4 p.m. that they needed to implement a boundary, that they needed to shut off or whatever by 5, and like it was to someone higher up in the company, and it just feels like, why do you have to say that to me? Like, couldn't you just set expectations? Like, hey, I know it's 4 p.m. I won't be able to get it to you by 5, but I will be able to get it to you by 9. That's luxury, right? That is like come from a place of over communication, even if you don't have the answers. Like, hey, I need a few more moments or I need an extra couple of days. Setting expectations is luxury, period. Because our clients, as in our collective clients in that specific vertical, expect, have a very high standard. And so it's a high touch experience at that level and beyond. So that is like the cleanest way of communication. Okay, I digress. Um, so let's talk about AI for a second. Now, I love AI. I think it's incredible. I'm not afraid of it. Like, but, and this is a huge but, we at the Media Socialites do not use ChatGPT or any other AI as the like first and last starting and stopping point. Meaning, for example, we use it for idea generations. We use it as like maybe a starting point of a concept, but we have editors for a reason. We're providing a luxury service. Like anyone can, you know, type into ChatGPT at any time and be populated with responses, but it's the personalization, right? That is high touch from my business, from my experience, right? I think that when I see and read something from ChatGPT that you can sniff it out, that is so no, just no. We can all, we're now like our antennas are up and we can feel it. And that's just got to stop. For example, I see this all the time. It makes me nauseated. When someone writes like from blah, blah, blah to blah, 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 like from the rolling hills to the tent, like all of that is an absolute no. It just, there's certain phrases that AI likes and prefers, and we can sense that. Your audience can sense that. And therefore, when there's a disconnect in experience, your audience, your ideal client, from a psychological perspective, will feel a level of uneasy and mistrust. You don't want to do that because you wrote a couple captions through ChatGPT and didn't decide to add your own flavor and, you know, sugar and spice on top of it. Like, please, it takes 2 seconds to do that. Well, not 2 seconds, but you know what I mean. Like, please stop doing that. Even emails, like, can we stop doing that, please? It's obnoxious. Okay, let's go to specifics and imagery for a second, because I'm like, you know, when I was preparing for part 2 of this, I was really thinking through the things that really bother me because they just like have to stop. I know that this is going to be controversial, but I don't want to see your dogs in your details. I don't want to see your dogs in a luxury, ultra luxury wedding unless there's like a purpose. Maybe, no, you should never be celebrating National Dog Anything. At this point, I feel like that's giving 2020. Please stop. I don't want to see your dog stirs. I don't know. Like it could be a detail of an event, but the whole purpose of attraction, the law of attraction on social and digital, is to put out there what you want more of. And I'm not saying that, luxury and ultra luxury clients don't want dogs and things in their events. But what I am saying is that you need to be very thoughtful on what you share and what you don't share. And you don't need to share that. Okay. Um, Other things that I think need to go away. Um, Showing low centerpieces for no particular reason when you have lots of like over the top florals, etc. Like, why are we doing that? Also, awkward angles. Now, this goes back to one of the things that I shared on part one, which is that hiring the right photographer and videographer matters for a multitude of different reasons. A good photographer and videographer will adhere to a timeline. They will be running next to you to make sure that they are not the ones who are, holding anything up. They are respectful of the timeline. They've studied it. They have it on their phone. They have it on everywhere. Number two, they know how to shoot details of food, of tablescapes. I mean, this is in hotels and in restaurants too. Like how you shoot a plate of food, if it's shot at a weird angle, makes it so unappealing and looks so cheap just by the angle. It's psychology. So if you're like seeing the like side of the plate, when I'll talk for a wedding specifically, and you're not seeing the detail or like the full setting, or you're chopping it, like we get weird crops all the time. It's so obnoxious. Whatever. Um, then what is the purpose? Like, what is the focal point of the image? Same with food, same with hotels. Like, weird angles make you just like make it feel flat. And I think it's already really hard to shoot food, frankly, as as a static photo. So please, like, let's make sure that the angle is right. If you have to get on a ladder, like, please, okay? Um, Other things that just feel cheap. I'm gonna actually say that watering glasses. I don't know if I shared this last time, but forgive me. Unlit candles. Like, let's not include that. Let's stop doing that. Let's stop including that in a gallery. Like, and even if it is in the gallery, let's stop selecting that because it feels unfinished. It's not just my personal opinion. This is partially opinion, but mostly data because it feels unfinished. Well, if I'm sharing something on social or putting an ad up, which has happened, never, um, but that I've seen where you have a room or a setting or a restaurant even where it's undone, like the details matter. This might be the first interface or the first time that they're connecting with you and your brand or your space or whatever you're selling. So we need to make sure that everything is prepped like it is the first date of your business every single time. Okay, I'll get off my sandbox on that. And I'll get onto a new sandbox. Soapbox. Um, Now, I understand with the rise of social media that people just felt like, okay, well, I'm putting my most current work out on social all the time, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever. But they just like forgot about their website, like just completely forgot about it. Like it doesn't exist. Like it's archaic. It hasn't been updated in 10 years. Um, you don't look like you in any of your photos. Like the photos themselves on your website are old. At the end of the day, and I can't stress this enough, we don't own any of these social channels. We don't own any of these social channels. They can change an algorithm, they can shut down a channel, and you're fucked. So if that is your only method, like we need to look inward. And more importantly, at this point where we are in digital, if you are not strengthening the house, meaning your website, because ultimately that's what you want. Like, no matter what industry you are in, you want more leads, you want more bookings, you want more reservations for your restaurant, you want whatever. Like, you need to be investing in your website to drive a contact us, to drive that booking, right? And in a few weeks, I'm bringing on Jordan Bostic to talk a little bit about SEO, and she'll like blow your mind on SEO and the importance of it and how you can do it for a bunch of different channels and such. But like, you guys, it is kind of crazy that some of the biggest players in hospitality, even hotels, like it looks so antiquated. And the problem with this is that outside of like, okay, we don't own these channels. So if that didn't get to you and that didn't like resonate with you, that's fine. But this should, because again, from a psychology perspective, anytime there's a break in that trust with your client where, okay, I love everything that they're putting out. Like I love the brand or I love this business, but their website is trash. Psychologically, there is mistrust because you didn't like take a little bit of time. And I'm not saying to like hemorrhage funds on a new website if that isn't needed or isn't in the plan, but like to not give it a facelift to look like who your brand is today is problematic. It's just everything is going too fast to not do that. So you need a website. Let's talk. Or a nip tuck of a website. Let's talk. Okay. A few last things. Going back to social. We're ping-ponging everywhere today. Just go with me. Again, in preparation for this secondary conversation, I was just like looking, scrolling all of the different feeds. You'll see oftentimes that people in all of these different industries are posting basically the same shot 3 different ways because they couldn't narrow down which photo to pick, which to me, like it's not cute. It's actually redundant. And a lot of the photos selected actually show like a worse vantage point. Not to mention, at the end of the day, every photo needs to be centralized around what you are selling. What you're selling is your services or your space or your experience or your design capability. If we are not focused on what we are selling, or there's a lack of attention to detail, like you kept the exit sign for whatever reason, though you could blur that out, or there's water in the glasses. Like, again, these things matter when we're talking to this echelon of clientele. We have to be paying attention. Last but not least, certainly not least, and I'm sure we'll continue on part 3, 4, etc. Is I can't stand when I see someone doing something that is forced and so off-brand. So I think, I understand not everyone is feeling confident enough to talk to a camera like a crazy person the way that I am with you right now and, riff with themselves. I get it. There's other ways of showing by doing without talking to a camera if that's not natural. But doing something that is like hokey or off-brand or trendy for the sake of being trendy for the sake of being trendy is the most off-brand, like non-luxury thing you can do because it feels very pick me. It feels very like, and also it leaves you wondering like, why would you do that? Because at the end of the day, your business is a brand. And if a trend doesn't resonate with you, that's okay. It shouldn't. It's a trend. Do it in a different way. Meaning, if you want to use an audio, fine. You don't need to use an audio. Cool. I saw something the other day, a brand that I genuinely like love all that they do, generally speaking. But they leaned into something White Lotus related that just was like, it just didn't hit. And it felt just like a little weird and off. And if it's not smart, like if that trend or that thing that you're doing on social doesn't make people feel like that was really sharp, like that you got me there, then it's a no. It's a no for me, bro. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's your brand, it's your business. Like I always say, you have to be your own PR person because, and that PR person is for you if you're a solo entrepreneur or solo business, or no matter how large your business is, like you have to make sure that you're cool keeping whatever you said or did or danced, that will live on for eternity and that you can stand by that. And I think especially now, like that is so important. You don't need to be trendy to be relevant. So this was fun. I hope that some of those nuggets resonated. Let me know if you want a part 3 or if we should go even more specific. I could do this all day long. Appreciate you, and I'll talk to you soon.